Good morning. You're in the garage. I'm outside the garage. I'm out front. We're just going to do a little bit of maintenance here today on Janky. I got to do an oil change. It's just time. I think it's been about 4,500 miles since the last time I changed it. I use fairly good, at least I think I use good oil. So I was actually aiming for 5,000 or 6,000, but the needs service light came on to 4,500, so that's fine. I'll go ahead and change it. I'm also going to pull the winch rope out because I've been really lazy and haven't done this. I'm sure you guys saw the video of me pulling a Lexus around all through the mud, and Michael's out there getting stuck. If you haven't seen it, make sure you go watch that because it's all kinds of good fun. You just go find it. And that day, pulling the Lexus around in the mud, the rope just got a little bit of mud on it, right? No big deal. Nobody cares. However, being synthetic winch rope, you kind of want to clean that off. You want to make sure you keep the rope, as clean as possible. And I want to pull it out and kind of re-spool it on the winch so it's real nice on there. When you use it, it kind of just goes back on wherever it wants to go back on. So we'll get that taken care of. I'll get that cleaned up. So with no further ado, I'll go ahead and get started. I'm going to go down there and get dirty. Only a little bit dirty because it's an oil change. Don't forget, like and subscribe. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, go ahead and take the time to do that now while I'm laying down on the ground and taking care of this. And we'll talk to you again in a second. Music. Okay, so I should have everything I need down here. I've got, I don't know if you can see it because of the shadows, but I've got one piece of cardboard for me to lay on, and then I've got another piece of cardboard down here because I'm trying not to make a mess in the driveway because, HOAs and the whole thing. So here we go. Old socks work fantastic for garage rags. That's your pro tip of the day. Old socks. So what I'm wrestling with here at the moment, what I've got going on, it's the gasket that was on the oil drain plug. I just replaced this. This was a new gasket the last time I did this, and it was very much stuck to the bottom of the oil pan. It's a good thing I bought Toyota filter. It comes with a new one. I've got a bunch of these in the toolbox anyway. I ordered these on Amazon. I got, 10 of them for like 14 cents or something stupid like that. They were super, super cheap. I always recommend change these things. It's a good idea. A lot of people reuse them for, like 10 years. And just not a fan. Okay, so now I got the hood up. Still draining out a little bit of oil there. Just thought I'd give you another real quick walk around. It's been probably, 6 months or something like that since the last one, since the introduction video. One of the things I very much forgot, just to kind of mention when I did the first introduction, is it is a 6-speed manual gearbox. And this was an absolute must for me. The automatics are fine and dandy, I'm just sure. I just always, I like a pedal car. I like being able to shift the thing myself, and the fact that when you get the 6-speed manual, it is full-time 4-wheel drive. So you get full-time 4-wheel drive and a locking center differential. So now I have a locking center differential and I have a locking rear differential, and it's just like a little mountain goat goes anywhere. But with this one, you get 4-wheel drive high locked, and then the 4-wheel drive low range. And since I was going to do a lot of off-roading with it, it was important to me to get that manual gearbox. Right after I brought it home, or after Jill brought it home here for me, however you like to say it, I put a clutch in it, and then almost instantly we did, a tune-up on it. So I did new plugs, and I did new injectors on it, because we had one injector that was going bad. I did the scuba mod that's over there so that the axle breathers come up and breathe through the engine compartment. Just make sure you don't get anything in them down there. You saw in a couple videos ago, I had to pull the whole winch apart, and I have replaced with a synthetic winch line. And so I replaced with this awesome Factor 55 Haas Fair lead for the synthetic winch line. And I've got that little thimble, well, I don't even know what you want to call that thing, not hook end on the end of the winch. Let's see, the truck has the URD mass airflow controller. I don't know if it helps or not, but it was already there when I bought it, so yay. I still really hate those everything in that dash pod, everything can eat it. I'm just too lazy and too cheap to replace the gauges with something that'll work. Okay, so this Pioneer head unit, it's the DEX 4200. It works fantastic. The stereo sounds great. It still has all of the stock speakers in it, but the stereo actually sounds pretty good, still with the stock speakers. But somehow, Google and this stereo hate each other. They don't get along at all. And so as you're driving down the road, you're looking at the maps, be it on Google Maps, or if you use Waze, because Google owns and controls Waze, it gets lost constantly, just continuously. So if I switch over to Gaia, it's never lost. Gaia it's always bang on. So it's not my phone. The phone's not lost. I don't think it's the stereo. I think it's Google. Google can eat it. Since the last time I did the introduction video, we put the rooftop tent on there. We are still very happy with that. I actually ended up cutting both sides. So this is the side of the roof rack that I cut in the installation video. And then a couple weeks ago, before we hopped out of town, I cut the other side. Just makes it a million times easier getting the cover for the tent on and off. And that's about it. Still got the same tires. At some point, I switched out to Dobinson's front springs and Bilstein front shocks, and they work fantastic. And the idea was, oh yeah, in the next month or two, I'll put the matching Bilsteins on the back. Yeah, no, I still got the old man emus on it because I'm cheap and I'm lazy and I'm broke. Let's see, on the back here, which I know we got some new decals. Y'all let me know in the comments if you know why I got that on there. In the back, everything still kind of remains unchanged. I am still super happy with this kind of whatever shelf piece that I built here with these bins that I use like drawers. They have been working fantastic. While we go out camping, we can keep the stuff in there, keep things organized. We can either put the two bins up here, or like at the last trip we took to Cincinnati, we put the refrigerator over here, which is another brand new thing, which I got to do a review on because it was awesome. Got a new set power fridge. Yay me. This net thing on the back, in theory, I still kind of like it. Like, yeah, that's pretty cool. You can put a little stuff and whatever. However, on this last trip I put some in here, okay? And you can see it's a little baggy. And so it was like a, I don't know, a little whatever. And it kind of hung down like this. As I tried to close the door, right? So it was, you know, a little baggy thing hanging down in there. And it was hanging down too low and it would come in contact with the back of the truck. And it was really hard to close the door and I kept having to fish it. So maybe I'll just take the net and move it up. I haven't really decided. Maybe I'll take the net and I don't know, I'll mount it up in here or something like that. Mount it in between, you know, like here. Well, that's an airbag thing. I don't know, put it in there. I don't know. I'll figure something out with it. So I haven't really done a whole lot to the truck. We just kind of, you know, we put a lot of gas in it. That's really what we do with the truck. We support the fuel industry. The rear seats happen to be out of it at the moment because they just unscrew. Got these handy dandy little screws on there and you can just unscrew it and take the bottom out. And that's real nice. I'll probably put those back in today because we're not camping. So we had this, I'll show you, I'll just kind of walk you through the house. We had this crazy freak. Hi, Marla. Hey. We had this crazy windstorm yesterday. It was really weird. So you can see we're kind of out in our backyard here. And right over there, right in between that little gap right there, there was a palm tree that was dead when we moved in. Like you see, you know, there's a, I don't know if I can get to it, there's a palm tree over there. And then our neighbor over there, it's got some moss growing on it, but that's also a dead palm tree, right? And then they put a palm tree way down there. Everybody gets a palm tree in their backyard. Nobody wanted it. But yeah, we got a little bit of video of that freak windstorm that knocked over, because that's all HOA land apparently back there, back behind the fence. So I'm not allowed to trim the trees or touch the trees or remove the trees, even though the trees are totally tall enough to fall over on my house when the hurricanes come through. I'm not allowed to touch them. So there was a freak windstorm yesterday. We got some video of it. I'll show you in a second.
Okay, so I've decided that we need to video this. Chris and I were headed to the store, and he abruptly turned into the easement behind our house and decided that, oh yeah, there's this dead palm tree that I wanted to tear down. So he's I don't know, he's rigging up his tow rope, and who knows how he's going to do this. I thought maybe he was going to get his gear out, but I guess if all else fails, we have video of him getting hurt. That's generally what happens. That's my man. I think he should get the tow. He's gonna winch it out. So I was just saying he's probably gonna winch it. Is that what's happening now?
It's gonna die. Well, it's already dead.
I might also point out that this is community space. This is not our private land at this point, from what I understand. So who knows? We might get fined by the HOA for removing a dead tree. Since he left the gate open in the back. Oh yeah, always put your gloves on. Tree down.
Okay, so now we're done underneath. I went ahead and put the drain valve back in, or the drain plug, the little drain screw up, put a new gasket on it. Nobody needs to see that. Nobody cares, right? In fact, most of this, like, it's changing oil. This is not rocket science. So now I will show you to be extremely careful, because my tripod, I literally duct taped it back together this morning because it's all broken from the last trip. So the oil filter is up top on this engine. So we're going to go ahead and change that for you. If I can set this down. Really scared of that thing falling over. So the oil filter has, since it's up on top, it's got like this little bucket that's built into it with like a little drain on the bottom. So well, I usually grab myself like a little cup or something. I'll say a little cup. So this time, instead of trying to use like a cup to catch the spare oil, I'm just going to use this rag. I think that should do. I might look like an idiot in a second, but I get used to that. There you go. Yeah, it's going to be way too much oil to catch on a sock. I'm stupid. Okay. Oh, Jesus, that's a lot of oil. Okay, so, that's a lot of oil. Don't be like me, kids. Don't try and cheat. Don't try and get this done with no preparation. Can I? That's right, kids. Ingenuity. All right, so here's what I did. Since I was too stupid to bring a cup with me, even though 20 seconds ago I was like, oh, you like to use a cup or something like that. Yeah, I didn't. So I just stuck the filter underneath. This is a great way to make a mess. Big mess. All right, so now we're ready to put the new filter on. Have to peel this little plastic guy off there. And put that right there. One thing that you definitely want to do when installing the oil filter, and this doesn't just go for Toyotas, it's every oil filter, you'll put a little bit of oil on this O-ring or the gasket, whatever it is there, just to make sure that it doesn't seal up too tight. Some guys will actually take and pour oil into the filter so that you don't get a dry startup, whatever. I'm not going to say that that's a bad idea. I just don't know that it's perfectly necessary. Okay. You put this on, and you just kind of want to snug it up. You don't have to kill it. Now I got it snugged on there. So now, let's put oil in it. Funnel. Because there's zero chance of me doing this and not making a mess without a funnel. Zero chance. You can watch Freiberger, whatever. I'm going to make a damn mess. That's what I'm going to do. In fact, I might even make a mess with the funnel. This is always a time where you're like, man, did I actually put the drain plug back in? Did I really put it back in? I hope I put it back in. So, I am now pouring in 5 quarts. Manual, everything else says that this takes 5.5 quarts. I have no reason to not believe that. But I just put in the 5. And now I'm going to go ahead and start it up and let it run a little bit and then shut it down and check oil from there. If you look at your dipstick, the low mark and the high mark, that's a difference of 1 quart. So if it's supposed to take 5.5 and now I'm half a quart low, it should be like halfway down, right? If anybody cares, I am using Castrol Edge. So unlock maximum performance. I am unlocking the maximum performance. Apparently it was locked up, now unlocked. All right, so I'm gonna wipe all that stuff off. I'm gonna take this and the oil that I drained out of here, I'm gonna pour it back into eventually. I'm not gonna do it here in front of you, but eventually I'll pour it back into here so I can take this to the recycling center. Makes things easier. So don't throw these away. Put your recycled oil back in here, take it to the place. It's awesome. And then we just, let's see, it goes over there. Home run. Okay. All right, so before running it, it's right there about halfway in between low and high. I'm gonna go inside and wash my hands so I'm not all oily, because next, before I start it up and do all that, I'm gonna go ahead and clean that winch rope. So I'm gonna go get cleaned up. I'll see you back here in a second. All right, so I'm just gonna go ahead and pull this winch rope out now and clean it up. I think I am. I'm just gonna, there it goes. Okay. So, a couple weeks ago, whatever it was, a month ago, whenever it was that Michael and I were out playing in the mud, you can see the rope just got a little bit of dirt, a little bit of mud on it. It's not really a big deal. It's not super saturated or whatever, but it's just a good idea with a synthetic rope. If you get any kind of dirt or mud wrapped up into it, it's nice to clean it out. The dirt residing inside of the fibers of the winch will just kind of prematurely wear the rope. So we'll just kind of clean it off, clean it out. Again, this particular instance, I probably don't even need to do this. It's not that dirty. Just a good idea. And you can see as I'm cleaning this, I just kind of wipe off, clean the outside, and then if you take the rope and push it together, you can see it kind of opens up. And so I'm wiping it off, and then I kind of do a little bit of this down inside the water, just to make sure everything's cleaned out. Got a bit of a flat spot on it right here, from how it kind of got pinched up on itself inside there. So it's another thing that you want to kind of watch for as you're pulling the line out. You want to just peek at it and make sure everything looks good. I don't know how much you can see. It's got just a tiny bit of fraying to it right there. This is normal, you don't have to worry about that. I've only used it once, but just kind of, as you're pulling it out, not only looking for dirt, you're, kind of checking the overall condition of the rope. And the phone fell down because everything's broken. Okay, so you see here how the tripod is broken, and you see how there's duct tape on it. Well, I thought it would be a great idea. Yeah, broken tape. Yeah, garbage. So I started this YouTube channel, right? We are Everyman Overland, and the reason I chose that name is just because I don't want to say I get tired, but I get tired of watching guys online and other YouTube channels, and they say, man, just get out there and just run whatever you got and just get out. And that's true, okay? But they're also standing in front of like a $100,000 truck that's pulling a $50,000 trailer, and they've got $20,000 in equipment stacked into it, and that's next to their other truck. Like, how do you identify with that? How does the normal guy, like me, probably like you see here, I've got a house. I'm not broke. Like, look at me. I've got a nice FJ. I love my FJ. Marla, sunshiny, but Marla has, I don't know, 8-year-old Lexus at this point, something like that. We both make whatever, doesn't matter, dollars a year or whatever. We're just normal people, just getting it done. And so sometimes we skimp some of the equipment, and that tripod was skimping. So I guess instead of the like $12 tripod, maybe I'll order me like a $40 tripod, and I'll just be like, oh, I'm so pimping. I am so amazing. It is very important. I do completely agree. Get out there and run what you got. I mean, if you've got like a Corolla, it may be tough to put a tent on a roof or whatever, or get to really cool spots, but there's lots of places out there where you could take your Corolla. You could take your Corolla to, a national park, or like, just for example, if you're on the East Coast, the North Carolina 105, you can run up that and your Corolla just fine, and put a tent in the trunk, and some camping chairs in the trunk and all of that stuff, and get out there in the nature and just feel that peace and the relaxation of just being out, and there's no people, and it's so amazing. So do run what you brung. Shiny. So, whatever. I'm rambling, but I'm going to get back to finishing up on washing up all of this rope. I don't think you really want to watch me wash all of that anyway, so when we're ready for the next step, I'll come pick you up. So I'm going to go ahead and run the winch back in. I'm going to put this whole mess back onto the spool. And from everything I've read, they say you want to apply something like 50 pounds of pressure to the winch rope as it goes back in. So I'm just going to kind of be, holding it with my hands, real strong, right, and holding on to it and just creating a bit of resistance. So as it pulls in, it pulls tight onto the drum instead of just being all floppy in there. And we're done. And I'm wet. And so I don't even know how this happened. Let's go over here. Now you put everything away. Let's put everything back where it belongs. Okay, so I am done with the oil change got done, and I cleaned up the winch rope, and that's about really all that needed to happen. Marla is outside. I don't know if you can see her. She's cleaning the windows, and she actually just dragged me out there. She's like, I can't reach, and so I helped, and now like the water all down my arm, into my shirt. It probably dripped into my shoe. I'm not happy about it. But I am back inside. I'm done with that. Just thought I'd close this up. We are now in the editing studio, and look how fancy, and look at that. That thing's awesome. That is our new Set Power fridge, and I'll be making a video on that shortly. And very short. I'm super happy with it. The editing computer, blah, 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 really. It's just our dining room that I took over, and now it's so messy that Marlon won't go in there anymore. So I guess that's about it. Thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you up again soon. Don't forget to like, subscribe, do all the things, and hit me up in the comments. We love hearing from you.